We're creating the ultimate Steam Deck, the highest GPU can support, plus a RAID card, and we're Frankenstein in this bad boy. So we are taking the highest end GPU that is known to work with the Steam Deck, the RX 6950 XT that was recently launched by AMD for $1,100. We had considered using something like the RTX 3090 Ti, but we still have not been able to get an NVIDIA GPU to work with the Steam Deck. It won't even go past the BIOS screen. So that is not going to happen, but a 6950 XT is still a really good 4K capable card. We are also going to be combining that using a whole bunch of M.2 to PCI Express adapters, a RAID card. So we're only gonna put 3 terabytes of storage on this, but we have this slot free in order to connect the GPU to the Steam Deck. So we will have a lot of storage on the Steam Deck as well as a GPU to make the best ultimate Steam Deck experience. So one of the complaints that we've heard when we've tested out this concept before is the fact that the Steam Deck is the world's best portable handheld console. If you tie it down like this, you are creating the antithesis of what it was designed for, which is to remain portable. But our goal here is to create a scenario where we should be able to take it from a docked PC setup to back to portable in under a minute, so that it actually makes sense. If you're in for the night, you want to play games at the highest possible settings that you could on a Steam Deck, you can easily get it set up. But I wouldn't say this is something you should replicate, because I think we calculated, how much did we spend on this, Kyler? 3 grand? 3 grand. We're at 3 grand, including the cost of the Steam Deck, which I'm estimating is about $600. But we are taking in mind that yes, this is a portable first console, and we want to create an environment where you can still use it as that easily with SteamOS. But unfortunately, in order to get the GPU and the RAID card to work, we have to use Windows. So quickly switching between SteamOS and Windows is the goal here, and we have a couple plans in order to make that happen. I haven't done it yet, so we're gonna experience this together, but let's create the ultimate Steam Deck setup. But if you're gonna be looking on the internet to buy things for your Steam Deck or any other PC thing that you have lying around, you might wanna check out today's video sponsor, Honey, because they are your online shopping best friend, the sidekick who's there to make sure your wallet doesn't get any slimmer. Honey's the #1 shopping tool in America, and for good reason, because it works for things you're already buying on lots of sites you're already shopping on, whether it's when I need to pick up a new SSD and finding out, hey, there's a coupon code that I actually missed. Thanks, Honey, for saving me that money there. Or on the thousands of other sites that are already supported. And simply, Honey automatically searches for promo codes, and you get it in just 2 clicks by going to joinhoney.com/UFDtech. You get it installed on your favorite devices, and then you can make sure that it's scouring the internet for promo codes for you to use. And for those of you who have already downloaded Honey with my link and used it, have found over $109,763 worth of savings. Again, that's over $100,000. That is a lot. So you can get it added to your browser by going to joinhoney.com/UFDtech. Get this online shopping sidekick. Make sure that you're finding the best promo codes and shop with ease in your brain, knowing that, hey, I probably got the best deal on this thing. Just like this Steam Deck thing's the best deal for the Steam Deck because I'm upgrading it. So we actually want to make this look like it's actually part of a regular PC desk setup. So we're going to be putting essentially everything that we need to use inside of a PC case that we already had. That includes the power supply for the graphics card, the RAID card's going to be hosted in there, everything essentially except the Steam Deck, which should be mounted. I'm going to need to scoot this back right here. It's going to go right there. Wow. So this is in theory. We have to test how it's all going to work. But the idea, this GPU is going to be put into the case right here, and we'll feed out an HDMI cable as if it's a vertically mounted GPU. And then we also will have the M.2 riser coming through the front of the case down here, plugging into the back of the Steam Deck. We'll also be adding a fan, in case you don't know. When the Steam Deck does not have its back cover on, it's prone to overheating, so having a fan blowing some of the air away is gonna help us with that. So I've tested out previously, and I think this should work. So we will connect this RAID card directly to the M.2 port on the Steam Deck. Then this port will be connected to the GPU, and we should be able to pass through both data streams to the Steam Deck. But we will not be booting off of the RAID card. Instead, we'll be booting off of this USB drive. So we'll have 1 terabyte of storage on this, 3 terabytes on the RAID card, for a total of 4 terabytes of storage. And the reason you would want to do this is so that you could have a system that can do everything off of just your portable handheld console. Again, this was $3,000. Shouldn't do this. But the idea is nice. Maybe one day this will be commercially available. I mean, VR headsets used to be really expensive, and now everybody has them thanks to the fact that they're like $200-300. So step 1, shutting down the Steam Deck, getting SteamOS turned off. And I've already gone through the liberty of uninstalling all of the screws on the back of the Steam Deck, which, fun fact, you do not need in order to keep this case intact. It actually holds itself really well with the clips. I'm not afraid of this back cover coming off with any sort of motion. You have to actually try to peel it off. And the only thing you're gonna wanna make sure is that you do not have a micro SD card in here because it comes flying out. I've had that happen. So all you're gonna need tool-wise is a screwdriver. It's not toolless, but it is easy. And then you just need to get your hands back in there and pop off the cover. It's actually remarkably simple if you grab right around where the trigger buttons are. I mean, I have banana hands, so being able to fit my fingers in there is no easy feat. We do have to unscrew the M.2 SSD every single time, but this is a simple process. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and then your SSD, it comes out. But then we come over here and we should be able to quickly plug this in and be off to the races. I now have to go through the setup of wiring everything to make sure that this actually works. So let's make this look like a real computer. We're gonna keep the Core 2 quad setup that's already in here from our previous video, which you can check out right up there where we put a 3090 Ti in here, but we're actually not gonna be using the physical system. So we have this really cool M.2 to PCI Express adapter because it actually has a stand for us, and we can plug the 24-pin and CPU power connector in back here so that it actually powers the GPU, and then we'll use the power supply that's in here as well in order to provide power to the graphics card. So with it all wired up, putting the RAID card in here allows this to come out the front. So we just create a dock scenario where it's just one cable that's gonna be exposed. Then this M.2 connector, which still has the beautiful tape on it because we bought this M.2 adapter for this video, will easily, hopefully, slot into this port right here. And now it's just a matter of actually screwing things down, getting it all put together, and then testing it. I just need to set the cooler on this so that it can actually cool the SSDs with the fan that's on here, and then we just have an extra little tail coming out. Yeah! Okay, so the SSDs are connected to the GPU now. This is all one unit that can be modified. I want to screw down the GPU to this. We could also do multiple connections. Like we could do a multi-monitor setup. We're not going to because we only have this one display here. But if we wanted to, like we could actually power tons of displays, which I know sounds crazy for something like a Steam Deck, which only has 4 cores. But if you want to use Discord and have YouTube open and I don't know, what else do the kids do on the internet? Download RAM, you can have that up constantly in the background. Like you could have multiple monitors with dedicated purposes by just having a GPU. Even if you don't want the highest end thing for gaming, having a GPU attached to your Steam Deck could allow for several more options than you currently have. I broke the plastic underneath. That's what that second click was. You gonna cable manage this afterwards? So this now should theoretically slide on in there. We can't exactly use the vertical mounting here because we have to have this GPU on this board. So it can't be as cleanly aligned, but we can pass the HDMI cable through there. And then this just needs to be attached. You can hide it behind the GPU almost. You deal with that, Kyler, thank you. So the setup is now conceptually complete. I actually really like how we did this. So you can see we have the GPU in here, the RAID cards also stuffed back there, as well as the boot drive, but you can't see any of it. So this looks like a fully fledged PC. Then we have the M.2 cable, which is gonna be plugged into the back here, but then we also need the USB in order to power everything. So that is gonna get slotted in up top right here. So once it's fully assembled and we wire all of the cabling up when we're ready, this is going to be mounted onto its stand like so. This power cable is going to be plugged in. So also with the M.2 port, we zip tied the fan that needs to blow on the essentials for it in order to actually keep everything cool, and that should allow for enough airflow. And that way, we're only dealing with 2 cables. I think I said 1 previously. I forgot about the USB, but this is actually really simple to hook up. And then we will be ready to turn everything on all at the same time and have a fully functional system going. I think this is pretty cool. This is the ultimate Steam Deck. It's a Steam Deck hooked up to a complete computer. Let's get it over here and get it working. So we have it fully set up. Computer case right here. We could put the tempered glass side panel on. I don't think we need to. And then the cables just coming out with the Steam Deck stand right here. We have Ethernet, keyboard and mouse support, as well as all of the HDMIs hooked up. I think it's time for the inaugural run. PCI Express cable first. That's in. Then USB cable up top. Let's turn it on. It made the noise. We're not getting any GPU light up. I feel like there's a setting we're missing here. So the RAID card is working because I apparently have Windows loaded onto the RAID card and not the USB like I thought I did. But the GPU did not spin up at all. And I think part of the reason for that is there's a switch on this that I neglected to flip in order to get it to activate. So I need to figure that out. That did it. Take 2. Okay, heard the noise. GPU spinning up. No HDMI out. We're not getting a display out of the GPU. It's still only on the Steam Deck. So it's clear that there's communication between the Steam Deck and the GPU, since the GPU spun up when the Steam Deck turned on. So now we just need to get some sort of actual communication where it turns on. So there's appears to be some sort of PCI Express encryption, decryption controller, but the GPU is just the built-in Steam Deck one. It's not registering the actual 6950 XT. So now it's troubleshooting time. So I'm baffled, but we fixed it. We still have to redo all of the wiring, but it was actually my PCI Express 3.0 riser that allows me to get everything to work. So the 3.0 riser is coming out of the Steam Deck, going into the RAID card, and then the 4.0 riser is coming out of the RAID card into the GPU. If we look at the TV, what we can see is that the HDMI cable out of the graphics card is now working on this. So we're gonna clean everything up and reorient here because I'm troubleshooting. Trouble's my shoots, I'll tell you that. I did it! It's all set up. We got the same cable set up as before with the M.2 riser behind, the single USB cable coming through. Now we have everything set up to use the Steam Deck like it's a real computer. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 total terabytes of storage with a 2 terabyte game drive, which is not relevant to what we're doing here. But the 6950 XT is set up on this PC. You have all of the storage for storing whatever it is you're gonna do on your Steam Deck. What kids do on the internet these days.
Webkins.
And for those of you who are cranky about me using Windows on the Steam Deck, Valve even said that they weren't gonna support it. They've come out with new driver updates. There's a new APU driver. There's a new audio driver, which was missing when they first came out with the Windows stuff for Steam Deck. So even though they say they're not supporting it, they've actually shown a decent amount of support for Windows ever since the Steam Deck launched. You get the best of both worlds. But let's test it out, because one of the games I've been playing on my Steam Deck this weekend was Final Fantasy VII Remake. I love it, it's been great, and I know that it's been running about 40 FPS at lowest settings at 1280 by 800 on the Steam Deck that entire time. I need to see how fast this thing will go with the 6950 XT. Oh, look at this. My Final Fantasy VII Remake is unable to sync its cloud status. Cloud. Let's retry that sync. Ah, cloud's up to date now. Also, the SoC on the Steam Deck is called Aerith, so we have to play Final Fantasy VII. Oh, look at that 1080-60 smoothness. Oh, looky cloud. And yes, the Steam Deck still does work as a controller while we're playing games. There's a little bit of hiccuping, but it'll be fine. I could totally enjoy this. I want to see, can we get this up to 4K? There we go. Since we're CPU limited, pushing it up to 4K gives us roughly the same FPS. 60, 4K 60 on Final Fantasy VII Remake on the Steam Deck. You never thought it was possible. You know, part of me wants to bring this up to my 8K TV and see if we get the same FPS on our 8K television. but I'll take 4K 60 any day. My goodness. This is running smooth too. Whew. Now's the time to up it to 4K. I mean, this actually looks pretty good up close. We'll go 4K medium. There we go, now we're over 60. 4K 60 on a Steam Deck in fart night.
That's pretty good.
This is pretty good. This looks good up close. Like, you can see everything. Do we check out some Cyberpunk? See what ray tracing looks like?
I'll cyber your punk.
Okay, but later, after we're done filming. 4K, texture, ray tracing ultra, run benchmark. Oh, the GPU is at 100%. Oh, we saw this when we did the Core 2 quad. Like, the GPU just can't handle ray tracing. The 6950 XT is just no good. Cause like, look, the CPU is at 30%. The graphics card is pinned to 100%, and it's using 11 gigabytes of VRAM. Yeah, this is the graphic. But here's the final thing that I think the Steam Deck could be great for, okay? You're used to playing games. What if it's a productivity device? What if you boot up Premiere, you need to get some work done? Did you ever think about that? If we bring in a few video assets, drop them into Premiere. Oh yeah, there's the Friday variety. This is from streams a long time ago. Oh, here's my old PO box. Not even fitting into the sequence. You love to see it. Hold on, let's bring this over. Let's take a look at what's going on with all of the cores and whatnot. It's using a lot of RAM. But you know, that's how video editing works. And then it's accelerating on the GPU by 25%. CPU's doing all right. Listen, this is working out great. I mean, you could do a decent amount of work on this setup. Like this, if it's your only PC, spend an extra $2 grand setting up the rest of the system for $3,000. This is not a bad deal. And then look, the touchpad still works. I can drag across the touchpad. You can see me drawing on the screen with it. So we played games, we edited videos in Premiere, but now here comes the true test. Can we get it back in portable mode in under a minute? I'm gonna start my timer here. I'm gonna shut down Windows and I'm gonna rush or moderately leisurely try to put it together. So 3, 2, 1. This doesn't count because I had to go back over here, but shut down. Let's go. Shut down, bad boy. You got it. No! Windows, you betray me! Would you start when you start shutting down Windows, or do you start when Windows is shut down? I'm kinda stacking the deck against myself. Okay, we're good. I'm going. Okay, it doesn't matter. All right, let's unscrew this. Okay, is that? Yep, that's done. I need that screw though. There we go. Gonna put the SSD back in. Don't get in my way, gimbal. No! Screwdriver. No! If we get anywhere close to a minute, I'm gonna be amazed. Okay, that's on. Then we come over here to the back panel. All right, I consider that done. 1:14, including Windows shutdown. And then we're booting back into SteamOS for me to be able to resume where I was with the games on Steam on Windows. So I can get into the same spot on Final Fantasy VII. My cloud should be synced. Okay, if you exclude the time it took for Windows to shut down and you exclude the time for Steam to boot up, that was under a minute of a physical hardware swap. So I am perfectly happy with this. I'm going to be using these in separate scenarios, right? This is when I'm on the go, when I'm out at work, whenever I'm doing something that's not at home. It'll take me a minute to get it undocked and all of that, but just a minute, and then I'm ready to go, both portable and fully docked with a high-end GPU, a RAID card. I think this is the ultimate Steam Deck setup. But it's actually not, because we have a few tricks up our sleeves that we're gonna be doing to modify our Steam Deck in future videos. So get subscribed for that.